Welcome to the 700 Club. A former United States ambassador to Israel is accusing the U.S. of spying on the Jewish state. David Friedman says the Biden administration leaked information to the enemies of Israel and the United States.
U.S. intelligence documents appeared online over the weekend. They included analysis of Israel's preparations for an attack on Iran. CBN's Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem.
The White House is investigating how intelligence documents analyzing Israel's plans appeared on the Telegram messaging app Middle East Spectator, trying to determine whether the information was leaked or hacked.
We're deeply concerned, and the president remains deeply concerned, about any leakage of classified information into the public domain. That is not supposed to happen, and it's unacceptable when it does.
Former U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman charged the administration with undermining Israel. Let's just understand what happened here. The Biden-Harris administration spied on Israel and leaked the results to the enemies of Israel and the USA.
Today, the great nation of Israel shows the world how a nation needs to act when it's facing a danger to its existence, and looking the face of danger in the eye with peace of mind, and knowing what must be done and what can be done, and to be willing to enter the fray.
Israeli leaders point to progress on both the northern and southern fronts. Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant visited soldiers fighting Hezbollah along the Israeli-Lebanese border and told them Hezbollah is collapsing. The IDF says it's killed some 2,000 Hezbollah terrorists and wiped out 70% of their rockets. The IDF recently declassified intelligence about deceased Hassan Nasrallah's bunker. Israel did not attack the target because it's under a hospital in Beirut. IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari says there's still hundreds of millions of dollars in cash and gold inside.
Directly under El Sahel Hospital, in the heart of Beirut, there are hundreds of millions of dollars in cash and gold inside the bunker right now. I'm calling on the Lebanese government, Lebanese authorities, and the international organizations. Don't allow Hezbollah to use the money for terror and to attack Israel.
They're hoping that that attack from Israel would be the tipping point for their nation.
Pastor Adam Gabelli works with many Iranians inside Iran and Canada and tells CBN News how they're praying about Israel's upcoming attack.
I can't divulge many details because some of the ones that are in the land, we have to protect their identity. But they are really praying that Israel would be that force that would overturn what they've been suffering for the past decades.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, it looks like Israel is on the verge of an incredible victory, both in terms of defeating and eliminating Hamas in Gaza, but also in defeating and eliminating Hezbollah in Lebanon. What's it going to take in order to achieve that victory? It's going to take the international community coming together with Israel to say there's some significant sources of funds for this terror that need to be stopped. So, how much money went into UNRWA and the UN Relief Works Agency? How much money went into that was then diverted into terror activities? Then look at how in the world can you create a bunker underneath hospitals and schools and mosques and civilian areas and not have anybody know. Everybody knew. The UN force that was tasked with keeping peace in southern Lebanon has clearly failed in that. The Lebanese government and the Lebanese army has clearly failed in keeping terror out of their own midst. But can the international community coalesce around this and say, not again, not on our watch. We're not going to allow an ideology that is pledged to wipe Israel off the map. That's what we're facing, but at the same time, it looks like there's going to be an incredible victory on both of those fronts. Now the issue is Iran, the puppet master, the one that's funded all of this and has encouraged all of this and given intelligence to all of this. If our own government can get out of the way, Israel could achieve a major strategic victory. And what would that mean for the Middle East? Well, it would mean peace. It would mean that people come into the Abraham Accords, that Israel is recognized, that there's no longer this incredible funding of terror, but there will be funding to help people and help prosperity for the whole region. Well, let's pray for that. Let's believe for that. Let's stand for that. Let's stand with Israel. In other news, 2 weeks to go until Election Day. A new poll shows most battleground states are in a dead heat. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. The Washington Post is out with results from 7 key states, showing Harris with the edge in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Donald Trump is up in Arizona and North Carolina, while they're tied in Nevada. Those results, though, are within the margin of error. Monday, Harris campaigned in 3 battleground states. In Michigan, appearing with former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, hoping to capture GOP voters who are on the fence about Trump.
There are moments in the history of our country which challenge us, each of us, to really decide, do we stand for those things that we talk about, including a particular country over party.
President Trump campaigned in North Carolina, where he viewed the damage by Hurricane Helene and spoke critically about FEMA's response. Later, he attended a rally with faith leaders and encouraged evangelicals to vote.
Because you have a reputation of not voting proportionately like you should. You do know that if Christians did, nobody could ever beat us. Nobody.
Trump has another rally in North Carolina today. Vice President Harris has no scheduled campaign events. Well, the high cost of housing is one of the big issues in this election year. In some parts of the country, homelessness is soaring. In places like Oklahoma City, they're experiencing spikes more than twice the national rate, spurring the local government there to work with dozens of nonprofit and faith organizations to give people a place to live. CBN's Brady Carter reports.
Scary.
So homelessness is scary?
Definitely.
What's the scariest part?
The unknown, not knowing where you're going to get your next meal.
Yeah.
Where you're going to sleep, who's going to attack you.
Homeless for 3 years, Timothy Gadberry feels like he's fallen through the cracks of a system that's now left him behind.
There's no life to go back to. I feel like I'm a dead man walking.
It affects a staggering number of Americans, with more than 650,000 homeless on any given night.
I have been so hungry, almost in tears, not knowing what I was going to eat.
Homelessness in America is at an all-time high in the last 15 years, surging 12% in just 1 year. Here in Oklahoma City, are seeing a 28% increase. That's more than twice the national average.
In response, leaders have adopted a housing-first approach, which is seeing success in bigger cities like Dallas and L.A. One rehousing initiative aims to put 500 homeless people in open apartment units within 2 years, no strings attached.
It's about a $13 million program. That's for 2 years.
Erica Warren, with the Key to Home Partnership, works with more than 50 organizations and nonprofits, including Catholic Charities, to find apartments for those in need.
I don't tell my mom about the times where I've seen a guy run up an apartment complex with a gun, or don't tell my mom about the time where I stepped on a used needle, or, you know, things like that. But that is the reality of it, right? People from all creeds, races, walks of life experiencing homelessness together.
While some danger can be involved, Rachel Golden remains committed to changing lives one apartment at a time. She also sees it as a balancing act, trying to keep landlords and service providers on the same page in order to keep the initiative moving forward.
Homeless people experiencing homelessness, whatever term you want to use, are just like you and me. They, like I said, we're 2 or 3 bad paychecks away from being in that situation.
In Oklahoma City, lack of affordable housing has caused rent to skyrocket. The cost of a 1-bedroom apartment averages $850 a month, leaving many struggling to make ends meet. Nearly 75% of monthly minimum wage income goes toward rent here, and it's a crisis reaching nationwide. As the Key to Home program marches forward, the goal is not only to reduce homelessness, but to help restore dignity and rebuild lives. Advocates stress that success is measured when people have the support needed to stay housed, stable, and contribute to their communities.
Just be kind. Maybe ask them if they need a hug. Somebody to maybe sit with them, talk to them for a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want help financially. They want somebody to actually care, genuinely care.
Reporting in Oklahoma City, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thank you, Brody. Important work to help those experiencing homelessness. Gordon, back to you.
Well, it's absolutely heartbreaking, and whether it's happening on the West Coast, that seems to be the one that gets the most publicity, from Los Angeles all the way to Seattle. But it's also happening in the heartland, and you get into why. Why is all of this going on? And you can talk about the high cost of renting an apartment, which is absolutely astronomical now. The amount of money that you need in order to have an apartment, the credit rating you need, the down payment you need, all of those things, these are all barriers to entry. And you heard it loud and clear in that piece. Many Americans are 2 or 3 paychecks away from being homeless. And what do we as a culture do? Now, can you blame immigration? Yes. Can you blame inflation? Yes. But let's not blame the homeless. Is mental illness part of this problem? Yes. Is drug addiction part of this problem? Yes. Is alcoholism part of this problem? Yes. But that doesn't mean we turn away. We have to do our part, and one of the best things you can do, as you heard, care for them and let them know. There are so many different ministries involved in this because the problem is so huge. It takes a whole army to address it. But find in your community people that are reaching out to the homeless. How are they doing it? How can you get involved? There are lots of them all across the nation because the problem is all across the nation. Let's do our part to help those in need.